Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Big Life Mindset, life hack tools and strategies so you love life more. My name is Eddie Rakanui, and this podcast is in the top 10% most shared worldwide on Spotify. I'm a leadership coach for winners of the Westpac Bank Innovation Awards. I've won numerous public speaking awards through Toastmasters. I've launched several businesses, including a startup accelerator, an importing business, and online coaching programs to build your confidence at work. But about all those things, I'm absolutely loving life. True story. Awesome. So also to kick off today's show is something slightly different. I wanted to share with you that we have a partnership with Matt McLean at Cerberus. So Cerberus Strength New Zealand. Please go and check out Matt. Matt, that's, Matt and I, we actually caught up through a mutual friend, Tyler Simpson, who happens to also be one of New Zealand's strongest people. And it was through that connection that we just realized, you know what, we've actually got a lot in common, a lot of shared values. And so we decided we'd make something of it. And I'm pleased to announce that we are in a partnership together. I love what Matt's doing. I love what, the niche that he's carving out in New Zealand. And, he wears a number of hats, this guy as well, Matt McLean. So please do check out Cerberus Strength. They've got stuff for everyone, man. I think one thing that really appeals to me, not just the shared values as well, but, they're looking at increasing people's performance. And that's just such a critical thing for me as well. Is how can I increase other people's performance? So if you're looking at having an increased performance and you're an athlete, or you want to get into being an athlete and do that thing, then please do check out his website. That's Cerberus-strength.co.nz. Awesome. Okay, so in today's episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about a whole chain of experiences actually that I had 2 Fridays ago, so a week and a day ago. And it was during the course of that I really got to uncork the bottle again. I was feeling a bit pent up, getting a bit of cabin fever. And so I wanted to understand, I already knew how to understand it. I already understood it, sorry. What I wanted to do was to release some of that pressure and get some of that staleness and boredom out of my diet. Before I do, quickly as well, is that if you're joining me on Spotify or my YouTube channel, you'll be able to watch me looking into a camera, and you'll see and you'll experience the full Big Life Mindset effect. You'll also see at the back the wall that I spray painted in my cabin that says, "I am a global phenomenon and helping people to love life more." That is the mindset that I'm taking into the world, and a whole bunch of coaching tools and ideas on a whiteboard to the side of me. Do check it out. In due course, I will also upload, my video editors will upload some of the footage that I'm going to describe, because today's episode, as I mentioned, is about some experiences that I had last 2 Fridays ago. I'll quickly reel them off, and then we're going to dive deeper into them, all right? So in one day, I had played with the kids, dropped the kids off at school, that kind of thing, ice bath, project team meeting with my team around the world, hitchhiking, edibles, hyperbaric chamber, outdoor spa, outdoor sauna. I had this electric thing applied onto my head, which I'm going to have to do a little bit more research about, but I had flashing lights. It looked like something definitely out of the future, definitely like some kind of mind control or X-Men related apparatus. And then I came home and I spent wonderful time with my wife. Talking about packing it all into one day, man. It was incredible. So let's start at the beginning, eh? So I had planned to catch up with my mate. He lives up in the Kapiti Coast. He lives about 25 minutes drive, maybe half an hour drive from door to door. So it was like, cool, short trip. I'll probably drive up there. That's my alarm going. I'm going to have to silence that. This is the alarm that is telling me that the piece of pork that I put in for Sunday roast is just about ready. So I'm going to bring that down and we'll see from there. Anywho, so gets to Friday. and I'd organised to catch up with my mate to drive up there, and I was going to, jump in his hyperbaric chamber. But kind of umming and ahhing as to whether I would actually hitchhike up. And the umming and ahhing was a lot of this, I've got these important things to do, and I can't do that because I've got to do this other thing. And you know what it's like. You've got this thing that you're really passionate about, but then you find other life admin-y things to put in the way, and those admin-y things become an obstacle, and they stop you from doing that thing that you're passionate about. But not on this day, my friends. No. So what happened was, woke up, played with our 2-year-old, playing this catching game in the lounge, and then breakfast, dropped her off to kindy, took my son across the road, so he walks up to school, get back into the house. I'm like, sweet, ready to rock and roll. Had my ice bath. I mean, Debbie has her ice bath. It's our habit in the mornings. And then we come up and have our project team meeting. I'm not going to dive too much into this. So our project team meeting is basically, I've got a project manager, a VA, a social media manager, and 5 video editors, believe it or not, all recent arrivals, most of them. And they are all tasked with helping drive me towards this vision of mine to be a global phenomenon and helping people to love life more. So we have the team meeting, goes off without a hitch. Fabulous. Okay, what's the next thing? So I had been umming and ahhing about doing the hitchhiking thing, right? And I was starting to think, it's just easier if I get up there, because when you hitchhike, there's no surety about when you're going to get from point A to point B. Okay, I'll do it, but let's what? This is what I'll do. I'll just drive up there, and then I'll know what time I'll arrive. And then Debbie says, no, I just hitchhike. And I say, oh, no, and as I mentioned, I'm coming up with these excuses why. And then she says, stop being a handbrake, bro. Now, in our house, no handbrakes. So Debbie and I use this phrase, no handbrakes. No handbrakes means, to use a double negative, stop stopping yourself from loving life. Okay? Stop stopping yourself from loving life. Which basically means if there's something out there in life that you want to do, go and do it. Stop getting in your own way. Stop being a handbrake in your own life. So that was it. Decision made. I was hitchhiking. Cool, like that. And about all of 5 or 10 minutes later, I kind of mentioned it. She said, "Oh, you're gonna have a blaze. You're gonna have some THC, some marijuana." Once again, reminder, folks, I have a medical prescription for THC and CBD. I am legally entitled to be in possession and to consume that controlled substance. Better put that footnote in there, because I know a lot of people have an opinion on it, and you're welcome to keep it to yourself. So anyhow, I thought, can't really be bothered today, And she said, well, but I actually wanted to. I don't know why. Like I said, I just got into a phase where I was just putting these little barriers in front of myself. And she said, go and have an edible, then hitchhike, and get to your hyperbaric chamber. Let me just repeat what my wife had told me to do there. So my wife has encouraged me to go have an edible or edibles and go hitchhiking to my hyperbaric chamber. Now, I did a post about this, and I just flipped it off into Facebook. And it tells me, like, the fact that my wife is saying this to me tells me all I need to know about the life choices we are making. I am loving where our life is. Don't get me wrong, this might not age well. I couldn't care less. It could all turn to shit in a year's time. I don't know. Who does? But I love the fact that my wife, we've been together for 27 years, I think, this year, 27 years. And she's telling me, go have some edibles, go hitchhiking, and go and enjoy your hyperbaric chamber experience. Like, we're making all the right moves. I'm making all the right moves in this life. I didn't need a further signal from anybody that I am. Like I knew we were, but that kind of thing, that kind of moment, it's like, yeah, this is working out. Everything, all the things that we're focusing on, we stripped away money. I mean, we deprioritized money. I deprioritized money years and years and years ago, probably since I was a kid, to be fair. But just like the conscious efforts that we've made to prioritize living and loving life, that was the kind of evidence that I could say, yeah, we're on the right track. We're doing the right thing here. Okay, so it must be about 11 o'clock. I'm meant to be up in Kapiti in Paraparaumu at 2 o'clock. And so, I grab my things, I pack my gears. I decide that I'm going to record an episode inside the hyperbaric chamber. So there is hopefully my video editors can stitch a whole bunch of that stuff together and you'll get to see and experience some of it. And then Debbie drops me down at my usual hitchhiking spot, which is the overbridge. You go into the State Highway 1 northbound on-ramp. Thank you, Eddie. On-ramp. And that's where I thumb my ride. So I get there. I've got a couple of edibles in me, got my bag, I've got my gears. I've got 2 phones because I am pointing one phone and getting footage of what it looks like and what I can see, and I'm pointing the other phone straight back at me, so I'm holding it to record and document it as well. And I reckon I'm there for, I must have been there for about, let's say 10 minutes. But hard to tell now, but let's say 10 minutes. It's not very long. But when you're hitchhiking, and I'm used to getting picked up like that, right? So 10 minutes feels like an eternity. And then a car stops. And it's this, I see this bike attached on the back. And I'm like, cool. And I just looked, as I look over, I'm like, oh, there's only a single person in that car. And I run over and the door opens and there's this lady there. And she's easily, late 60s, early 70s, driving on her own. And her and I start having a chat, and she says, well, I'm actually going to Tawa. Now, Tawa is about 10 minutes up the road, five minutes up the road. But if I go to Tawa, I can't get out of Tawa easily. It's a horrible place to get out of. And so between us, in the course of 30 seconds, not even that, we meet, greet, introduce, talk about where we're going, talk about where she's going, why it's not a good idea, and then both agree that I won't get in the car for that reason. And then boom, she's off. Awesome. A few more minutes later, and I'm doing a live as well. I'm doing a Facebook live, and I'm doing Facebook live and not TikTok live because I'd been suspended the week before of TikTok live. That's another story. Well, the story is that I was talking about medicinal THC and then got banned. There's whatever the guidelines that TikTok have, which I read. Just the design and I reckon the purpose, then the design, and then the implementation of them are totally different things if you look at their community guidelines. They're talking, so in my opinion, this is just slightly off the beaten track, right? But in my opinion, I have had a doctor, so a GP, somebody who's gone all the way through medical school, all those things that we value, education, secondary education, tertiary, blah, 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 and has made a decision, yes, this is what your symptoms are and this is what we're going to prescribe for it. Great. So I've gone through all of that. So once again, now I'm legally entitled to be in possession and consume that controlled substance. I'm not breaking any law whatsoever. I've got the tick box. I have the system has supported this decision. And then TikTok have said, nah. Even though they do, from what I read, try to accommodate local laws. The fact that I was legal, irrelevant to them. So I get banned for a week. And people reported me as well, people who literally have sweet FA better to do, just want to jump to their own conclusion, even though they know that I can't be bothered going down that road. They're time wasters. Say no to time wasters, folks. All right, let's get back on track, Let's get back on track. So I end up getting picked up. And it's actually one of the boys that I know. So he picks me up, and man, him and his oh, this is once again the pork. I might have to pause this, because imagine if I overcook this, man. Roast pork overcooked. That's just like it's worth crying about. I'm going to go for 5 more minutes, and then you're going to hear like a pause. No time is going to pass in the podcast, but other things are going to happen, right? Just to let you in on what's happening behind the scenes. So he and I jump in the car. We're having a good old fashioned laugh, and he drops me off in Porirua, which is kind of 7 minutes, so it's a little bit further than Tawa. And I jump out, and like traditionally, it's not a good place to get out. Porirua, if you're hitchhiking out of Porirua, there's not a really good place to be, or at least there's much better ways of getting picked up. He drops me off. I'm out there, and I realize that I've overdressed for the occasion too. So I normally wear hitchhiking pants, which are actually snowboarding pants, and often I'll wear a pair of pants underneath those. But I thought, oh no, this might be touch and go, so I just wear shorts underneath, because I'm going to need shorts in the hyperbaric chamber and for a spa anyway. And then I realized, nah, man, I've overcooked this by a long way. Excuse the roast pork pun. I've overdone this. Cool. Okay, what am I going to do? And like as I'm standing there, like when you start getting a bit uncomfortable, and then you're actually visibly sweating on your forehead. So that's what happened, right? Now you don't want to be hitchhiking in a place that doesn't have good visibility for drivers, and when they do see you, you're sweating. It's just not a cool look. Not at all. Who wants to pick up sweaty stranger guy on the side of the road, right? Well, fortunately for me, a family did. So this family comes past and looks like dad of the house, man of the house is the front on the driving seat. It's a lady in the front passenger seat. She's got a dog on her lap, and there's a teenage girl in the back. I'm like, cool, man, thank you so much. I tell them that I'm doing a live as well. They don't mind. Like, sweet ass, jump in. So I jump in the back, and we just have a good old chat. And in the space of, I don't know, let's say a 5-minute drive. So we go from Porirua to Mana Esplanade, which is just up the road. About 1 minute towards my destination is a minute closer, So I like taking those rides, except for the Tawa one. So, in that space of time, I learn about how she's studying. She's studying to, she hopes to be a chef one day. He's finished work. They're off to see her father, I think. The daughter's obviously quite shy. And we just have like this. I get to know people really fast, and I have no trouble building deep connections with people fast. And you put me in that kind of environment, and it's just like that's my superpower juices going bang. Let's do this, and just being able to connect with people. And I'm fortunate because. One, my mindset is like I'm always blank slate. Like whatever person tells me, like, cool, let's start with this. But I'm also fortunate that, having that open mindset, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also fortunate that like the wealth of my experiences, like we helped raise in this family home that I'm looking at right now that's got the roast pork that's probably starting to burn. In our family home, since I was a kid, we've helped raise, that home's helped raise 11 other kids that have at one stage called that place home as well. Plus, like there's my kids. We've got mum at home, and like at our house, right now we've got 2 French tourists, hitchhikers, staying with us. Like the wealth of experiences and relationships that I've been fortunate to build since I was below knee high put me in that kind of space where I struggle to not connect with someone. How about that? I struggle to not connect with someone. I would have to go out of my way because it's natural for me to find similarities with other people. Like a breath. Oh, well, that's a starting point. We both breathe oxygen. Great. What else do we do together? Like, what else are you doing that I do as well? Or the way you think that I think as well. So I find that really, really easy, which is obviously very handy when it comes to hitchhiking. So anyway, they dropped me off in Mana Esplanade, and I'm doing the live thing again, Facebook Live. and kind of talking to people about like some tricks that I use there, because I've been in Mana Esplanade quite a few times, and I do this. It's actually annoying what I do, and I apologize every time. I apologize and I keep doing it, so I don't know how sincere my apology is, but in Mana Esplanade, it's an arterial road. It's not a highway. It used to be a motorway. It's an arterial road. It's a main road, obviously, and it has pedestrian crossings across it. So I push the buttons like I'm crossing the road, right? Annoying, sweaty guy on the side of the road is pushing the buttons that's stopping the cars. So when the cars stop, that way I can build up a relationship with people, like eye contact, and then, I like full conversations with people without them getting out of a car and without me getting close to them. As an example, I could look at a person and understand where they're going. Like they'll look up and I can tell where they're going, or at least how far up the road they're going. And then they'll look back to me, and then they'll look ahead, and I'm like, I already know you're about to signal to me that you're going further up the road, but you're not going very far. Like I just from those like interactions that we have, and that takes, less than 2 seconds kind of thing. So much information can pass between two people without a single thing being spoken. Homes of nonverbal communication. So that happens quite a few times. And I'm always smiling, man. I'm like, man, the gift that I can give you right now is I'll give you a smile, and hopefully that helps make your day a little bit brighter. And so I'm there for a little while, and then another car pulls up, and I look at the driver who's slowed right down, and we're like making eye contact, and I click that it's another one of the boys that I haven't seen in years too. I haven't seen this guy in years. Mark Taylor. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. So he's actually been following the lines, and he had commented a couple of times. He's been following the lines, and he's like, bro, I'm just around the corner. Where you want to go? And so he takes me from Mana Esplanade to Paraparaumu, right to the door, which is awesome, man. Like I like getting into cars with complete strangers, and I also like getting into cars with people that I know. When I get into a car with a guy that I know and I haven't seen him in years, bang, like straight away, we're just chatting away, like blah, 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 I love that. That's cool. That's cool. There's like no need for a warm-up conversation. There's just straight into it. So that's what we do. He takes me all the way up to Paraparaumu and to the door, and get out and a few big hugs goodbye as well. I love giving hugs. I love getting hugs too. It's always nice to give a hug, and when you give a hug, those hugs where I love when I give a hug. I like to know that I'm giving a hug. No, I'm sharing that time with the person. Might be half a second, whatever it is, but just being present in the hug, and to know that you're connecting with someone. Now, I know somebody at some stage going, I want to take like a sexual innuendo or whatever it is out of that, and you're welcome to it. But when you connect with somebody in a hug, oh man, that's cool. That's really cool. So anyway, so he drops me off outside, and I meander up, and I'm nice and early. I get there about half an hour before I'm meant to be there. And I meander up to the door and catch up with my mate. And then we get into talking about hyperbaric chambers. We actually talk about, like, my mate, I'm not going to mention his name, he's quite a private guy. But my mate has been through a run of injuries, and his body has, obviously when you get an injury or when something happens in one part of your body, it tends to affect other parts of your body, right? Your body compensates and overcompensates, and then it spirals. And this guy's been through the works, and his perseverance and resilience, man, gold medal kind of stuff. So he's got the hyperbaric chamber and a spa and a sauna and that kind of thing. So he and I basically just talking about all things. Andrew Huberman as well. Love Andrew Huberman. That comes up. And then it's time for the hyperbaric chamber. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to push pause on this podcast. No time is going to pass on the podcast, by the way. It'll be a matter of seconds. But behind the scenes, once again, I'm going to live a whole life. I'm going to go make sure I haven't burnt this thing to a cinder. I'm going to make a bit of gravy with the juice. I've done the mashed potatoes. Put an egg in the mashed potatoes as well, like that. A little bit of butter. Actually, that's a lie. I put a lot of butter. Bit of milk, salt, and pepper. I've got some mixed vegetables that I've boiled. I wish I steamed them. And because I completely forgot that I'd already done so, I have purchased 6 hangi. Now, if you don't know what a hangi is, HAN for November, GI. HAN for November, GI. Google that. And especially if you're one of my overseas audience, this thing is telling me I'm just burning this thing with cinder. Google that, and that'll give you an appreciation of the other food that we're about to have for Mother's Day dinner. Mother's Day dinner. All right, and pause. Oh, and we're back with a full stomach. Wow, that was incredible. That was Mother's Day dinner. Got to be honest, it's not often I cook a roast pork. Very, very rare indeed. I was under a little bit of pressure because my mum wanted one for Mother's Day dinner, and it's Mother's Day, right? So you got to pull out all the stops. I was running off 2 separate recipes, 2 different sources, and I thought, okay, between the 2 of them, surely I can't go wrong. But I don't think that's the way you're meant to cook, right? You don't take a recipe from one side and a recipe from another side and try and pull them together. This isn't fusion cooking, Eddie. This is like a recipe for disaster. Oh, I'm joined now by my wife, Debbie. So, okay, the hyperbaric chamber. So I get to the hyperbaric chamber, into it, and if you've never had a hyperbaric chamber, which I hadn't, then it is quite a different sensation. Part of the science about it, like I heard a lot about it, but part of the science about it is that the pressure. So when you're inside it, you also have periods where you're kind of, like oxygen mask that drops down from an airplane if your shit's gone real south. You wear one of those for like on and off, I think like 22 minutes on and 5 minutes off, 22 minutes on, 5 minutes off, that kind of thing, for about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer. The most noticeable thing I felt was when you climb in it, like if you're claustrophobic, then a hyperbaric chamber is not going to do you any favors. It's like a tube that you climb into, and it's spacious enough. Like the one that I had was a domestic one, right? It's like the biggest of the domestic ones, I think he described it as. And it's spacious enough that you can move around in there. You can't really sit upright, but I could fully lie down, and I had enough space to put my laptop, I think I had 3 cameras in there. Like, what about this guy, content creator guy? Yeah. The mic, laptop, those kind of things. So, it's not super cramped, but it's definitely not spacious. It does have a glass door, and when the person on the outside wants to talk to you, they pick up a phone. So that's quite, out of it. Pick up a phone, you're having these conversations. When it seals, it's got that whole kind of Star Trek thing, like as it pressurizes. And then as the pressure went up, and I think it was in kPa, so from 0 to 20 kPa, I deal with the measurements. I don't know. They are what they are. This is all I could tell. 0 to 20 kPa. The pressure on my ears was not painful, but it was unpleasant. And I wouldn't have liked it continuing at that level for the whole hour and a half. That would have felt unpleasant. It would not have been a pleasurable experience. However, after, that thing where you kind of block your nose and you push it out through your ears to pressurize your ears or equalize your ears. So I did that a few times. And then between 20 kPa and 50 kPa, which is where it settled, I didn't notice a thing. Like I didn't notice any change whatsoever. So I thought that was peculiar. I don't know why, and I'm sure somebody can tell me out there, or I could look at Google, but I won't. But that was noticeable. It was a noticeable effect, and it did catch my attention. Why did that happen? So I was in the hyperbaric chamber for, like I said, just over an hour and a half, and at one stage, the oxygen wasn't working, and I could feel myself like struggling for air too. I felt like a fish. like a fish when it's out of water and you go like that, because the valve on the oxygen mask wasn't working properly. And me not knowing what I was meant to be doing, I didn't really look for it until quite like maybe 10 minutes after. I thought, man, I'm really struggling for air here, right? Like, should I be starving of oxygen entirely while I'm in here? But my mate came back and he had a look. He's like, oh, no, at least I'll do this. And so, we got there in the end. So I'm obviously very thankful for him for not letting me die in there. I do like one of the first things he showed me was how to get out. He said, right, if something goes wrong, you just need to get out. This is how you get out. Ah, sweet as. All right. Which is always a good thing. Reminds me of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where one of the first things they teach was how to fall. It's always good to know that. Like, this is the worst thing. Okay, make sure you know how to do this thing. So, yeah, that was the hyperbaric chamber experience. I will, as I mentioned, either on this episode or the editors can stitch together all the footage that I took and they can create another one, and then it'll you'll see all the visuals and be part of the conversations that I had with folks in the cars and whatnot. Then that'll be forthcoming. After the hyperbaric chamber, we went outside and he has a spa pool. So me, my mate, and his son, who's 4 years old and has all the energy of a 4-year-old boy, went outside and enjoyed the spa. It was really cool seeing this boy too. Because I hadn't seen him. I saw him recently at our son's haircutting ceremony, but just in amongst all the hubbub, and had over 100 people there for his birthday. For his birthday and this haircutting ceremony, I didn't really get a chance to even register how much his boy had grown. But it's just one of those things, helps you age, right? Helps you realize you're aging. Seeing this kid, full noise, wanting to hang out, wanting to play. I'm like, cool, man, that was really dope. So I played with him for a wee bit. And then we went into, his son went into the house, for the dinner thing. And then we made our way into the sauna. Had about a 20-minute sauna, and oh man, it's like being in a day spa. You're going from the hyperbaric chamber, and then you go into an outdoor spa, and then you go into an outdoor sauna. Outdoor sauna meaning the sauna is positioned outside, so there's a window and you can see into the back of the garden, and the other side's got the door that you've just come from. It's very, very scenic at the same time, very quaint, tranquil, all those things. By the time I left that, man, I was just cooking. But what I did do as well while I was in there was I had a real, because just the intensity of the heat, right? I'd probably a bit dehydrated as well by that stage, but just obviously the intensity of the heat. Being in there and really dialing into being present while I was in there. So I did a reel that I posted shortly afterwards. Hopefully, if I am not too tech illiterate, I'll add it to the show notes, because the reel that I took is in my opinion, based on that experience, it is, in the course of 3 minutes, there is something that is going to benefit anybody who watches that. It's a bold statement, but I'll make it again. If somebody watches that reel and watches the full 3 minutes, there's something to take out for everybody. I don't care if it's Joe Rogan or Joe down the street. Oh, good. So I had that experience and, really dialed into being present. Went through a couple of techniques for memory as well, locking in a memory. I'm working on my memory. My memory's getting better, I tell myself. That's obviously something that we do. Tell yourself it's getting better rather than, oh, man, my memory sucks. And it's you're just creating a self-fulfilling prophecy there. And so, wrapped that up and, eased off with a shower. And then we went back inside, and my mate's got anything that's got anything to do with health, bodies, anything related to anything like that. He has got a something. And he took this, or he had this thing from a doctor. Now, it was called, oh man, where is it? Oh man, I can only show you the video. I can't show you a photo. Yeah, I'll describe it, okay? It has, it's like a wireframe headset that has a piece of plastic about, I don't know, 5 or 6 centimeters wide, that sits on the top of your scalp. And then, oh man, there's just like lasers and probes and all sorts of shit going. I'm not going to try and describe this anymore. I'm looking at a video of myself. There, you can see it right there if you're using the powers of Spotify or YouTube. And I've got this plug stuck up my nose and pegs and all sorts of somethings. So it was, what was it called again? Something neuro. I can't, a view light. It looks like view light neuro. If you know about it, let me know. I literally stuck this thing on my head because I thought, why not? Even if it's at the expense of my pride and my mates just having a good laugh at me, which he may well have been, I don't know. But I was in that environment, so give it a try, right? I can't say I felt anything off it. I didn't know what I was meant to be feeling, but worth a try. End of that day. So all of these things, right? Like every single thing that I'd done that day is either in a personal growth space. I'm putting myself into uncomfortable situations, and that's where your growth comes from. Better recap that bit for any of my new audience. Imagine your right hand is at chest height and your left hand is above your head. Okay? And they're flat. Now, let's say, we'll call it public speaking, okay? But this applies to any facet of your life. But just say for this example, it's public speaking in public. Your right hand is where you're comfortable, your comfort level in terms of public speaking. Your left hand, the one that's above your head, is where you're uncomfortable. Right hand could be, I'm comfortable talking with one person. Left hand could be, I'm uncomfortable if I have to speak in front of 50 people. Looking at your right hand, each time you put yourself in a position or situation where you're uncomfortable, you will slowly but surely build up your comfort level and your confidence. And the more familiar you are with putting yourself into uncomfortable situations, the more your confidence and your comfort will grow, until eventually your right hand will continue going up until it is level with your left hand, and your new sense of being comfortable is right up there, and your level of being uncomfortable is somewhere in the stars. Now, that somewhere in the stars might be a small exaggeration, but hopefully you get the gist of that. The more you put yourself into uncomfortable and unfamiliar situations, the more your confidence in those situations will grow as you become more familiar with them. And as that happens, your comfort level will grow as well, until eventually your comfort level is so much higher than you thought it could be. And suddenly you're speaking in front of 100 people in an auditorium, and you don't even realize that there's any sense of being uncomfortable. And so your new uncomfortable could be speaking in front of 50,000 people in a stadium, until you keep doing it, until you keep building your way up there, and then suddenly it's no longer uncomfortable for you. That's growth. That's where growth comes from. So many of those things that I described on that day leverage being uncomfortable and growing. So that mantra that you often hear in so many of my episodes, be uncomfortable and grow, be uncomfortable and grow, be uncomfortable and grow. Like that's the genesis. That's the why. If you want to know why I use that phrase, why I live by that mantra, and why on the first session of any session I have with a new client, that phrase will come out, because they need to understand, if you want to grow, Like if you actually want to have growth, then you need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You need to be uncomfortable. Growth doesn't come in your comfort zone. Stagnation comes in your comfort zone, not growth. Okay, so I've had this day, right? And it's just been jam-packed with bucket filling activities, play with one of my daughters, playing this balloon game, kind of like volleyball, but just, yeah, like volleyball, I guess, with my 2-year-old, making them porridge for breakfast, taking them to kindy, taking my son across the road to school, ice bath with my wife, very purposeful project team meeting with the team. Like, this is our focus. This is what we're doing. These are the whys, right? Delivery, timeframes, quality, cost, all those kind of conversations. And then, having my wife help me remove the barriers that I'd been putting in front of myself and making me take my handbrake off the way that she did, insightful to say the least. For me to go and put that post up that I did, I knew, like, man, this is the secret sauce when it comes to happiness, contentment, enrichment, whatever word you would like to slot in there. Like that was all the evidence I needed, that all these decisions that we've been making in our lives are just coming up with rainbows and unicorns. Had the edibles, hitchhiking, these engagements, these connections with people, deepening connections with people that I already knew, building new connections with people that I'd never met before and may never meet again. Getting to my mate's place, having this experience in the hyperbaric chamber, and then layering it up with, playing alongside his son in the spa bath, and then having a sauna, and then after that, like documenting that kind of being present moment and leveraging the science to support my my memory. All these little tools that have been coming together, all of them like just jam-packed into what was, by the time I got home, it must have been I got home about 5 o'clock, I reckon. So it would have been out like all of that whole thing took over the course of 9, maybe 10 hours by the time I got back home. That's a lot. I didn't feel busy. I'm eradicating that phrase from my everyday vernacular, from my vocabulary, for a whole bunch of reasons. But anyway, like just cramming in a lot of life into 9 or 10 hours. And so, when Debbie and I, my wife and I, when we kicked back and relaxed at the end of the day, I just felt so good. Felt so good. A couple of the boys had said that they were going to catch up. And it would have been cool. Would have gone out and had a blaze with them. But, man, my bucket was just so full, eh? My bucket was full and I was tired. But I wasn't like a... what kind of tired would I call it? Like at ease more than tired. I was just really at ease. And I didn't need to put anything else in there. Like, the bucket was full. And so I just, rounded it off with spending quality time with my wife, and connecting. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful way to end what had been a very bucket-filling kind of day. Wow, that's that, eh? I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you taking the time to listen, watch, follow, share. I want to also just remind everybody about Cerberus and give another shout out to Matt and the team, Matt and his wife, and they may have more behind them as well. I don't know, but yeah, check out cerberusstrength.co.nz. They got strong products for strong people. So if you want to build yourself up, check them out. That's a cool starting point. Also, a reminder that I have the tailored coaching program. So it's a one-to-one tailored coaching program online. Currently active. That is where we book in time, catch up with you, and then together we understand where you are in life and where you want to be. And then we work out how we get you there. I'm really, really good at fixing problems and finding solutions. I'm really good at it. Doesn't matter the environment, side of the road, stuck in a hyperbaric chamber with no oxygen. I can find a solution to anything. I love doing it as well. I love doing it. In fact, speaking of posts, I've just put another post out, and it really is a heartfelt one for me where I describe how much I invest in my clients, and I love investing in my clients. I really do pour my heart and soul into helping a person get from where they are to where they want to be, because I know the value of being where they want to be. The life I lead, this is where I want to be and more. And so I know the magic that is sitting there waiting for everybody to experience. Doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor, Ivy League, anything. It does not matter. Happiness, contentment, and enrichment, they don't care who they land on. They don't care where they go. So I love unlocking that for people. I love it. I love seeing people get as much out of life that I'm getting out of life. And better yet, I know how to coach that. So if you'd like to catch up with me, please do check out the show notes for a link to book in some time. So that tailored coaching program, that's very much the one-to-one. We sit down, we work out, we strategize, and we work out what the bite-sized actionable steps are going to look like. And then there's also my Love Life More coaching program. So Love Life More coaching program is a blend of one-to-one and online, so you can do it in your own time. We kick off where, once again, you and I have a personal conversation. We really dive into how best we can get you from where you are to where you want to be, and whether that's you're dealing with stress, overwhelm, low self-confidence, low self-belief, or you're looking at pivoting careers, relationship changes, like the whole range of life activities that could possibly be taking place. We give you the tools to be able to manage any of those with confidence so that it sits within your comfort level, and then we build from there. So that's the Love Life More coaching program. So tailored coaching program and the Love Life More coaching program. If you'd like to know more about those or more of who I am, then please reach out using that link below in the show notes. Link below, I'm assuming. And we'll go from there. For everybody else, there's MasterCard. Jokes. All right. Be uncomfortable and grow. If you take nothing out of this experience, this podcast, this episode, be uncomfortable and grow. Push yourself daily. That roast pork dinner that I was talking about, I knew I was going to do that because it was uncomfortable. I'm like, right, well, I'm not going to go and ask anybody else to make this thing for me. This is me putting myself in an uncomfortable situation at the behest of my mum, of course. I love you all. Take care, and I can't wait to catch up again. Oh, and check out an upcoming episode that I'll be publishing that is basically it's me doing a TikTok live. And so once again, I wanted to challenge myself. So while I'm doing a TikTok live, I'm recording an episode on this podcast, and everybody in the live who tells me where they're from, I give them a shout out on the podcast. So who knows, you may be one of them. All right, ka kite, bye for now.